When talking about labor market equilibrium, we want to look at the labor supply and the labor demand, which describes the demand side and the supply side of the labor market. We also want to look at the condition that the quantity of labor supply equal to the quantity of labor demanded, such that describe the equilibrium of the labor market. So what we want to do is, again, we want to plot the labor market equilibrium in a two-dimensional diagram. For the vertical axis, it will represent the price, and the horizontal axis represents the quantities. In here, given that we are describing the labor market equilibrium, the price for the labor market is the real wages, and the real wages is the nominal wage divided by the price. The horizontal axis represents the quantity of the labor market, which is the quantity of labor supplied and the quantity of labor demanded. So then when talking about the labor market, we need to make a couple assumptions such that we can simplify the model we want to develop. So the assumptions we made are as follows. We assume that all the workers are alike, such that we will be able to use a representative agent to describe the behavior of all the workers. The second assumption we make is that the labor market is competitive. When we say the market is competitive, it implies that all the workers and firms are price takers, and they are so small such that they cannot affect the prices of the labor market, which is the wages. At the end, we make the assumptions that the firms maximize the profit, the household maximize the utility, and trade off the cost and benefits when they are making the decisions. You may say, hey, wait a minute, are these assumptions way more simplified than reality? The answer is yes or no. That is because it is true that it makes a lot of the simplification. However, it still reflects the major characteristics of the labor market, so we can make these assumptions. So now let me go through the detail of each assumption to tell you why we want to make these assumptions. So the first assumption we make is that all the workers are alike. When all the workers are alike, it means that everyone have the same talent, such that the behavior of all the individuals are exactly the same. When the behavior of all the individuals are exactly the same, we can describe the behavior of one individual to represent the behavior of an economy for the aggregate of all the workers. And we call something called the representative agent. So this assumption will make our analysis much simpler, because if we do not assume all the individuals are alike, we need to allow each individual to make decisions. So if there are 100 agents, they are completely different, then you need to make 100 decisions in your model. However, if all the individuals are exactly the same, then we can solve the model of the decision making of one individual, and that represents the decision of 100 individuals. So then the scale of analysis will reduce from 100 to 1, for example. So the assumption that all the workers are exactly the same is a little bit extreme, but it makes our life much easier. The second assumption we made is that the labor market is competitive. When we say the market is competitive, it means that everyone are price taker. And the reason why everyone is price taker is because everyone is so small such that they cannot affect the price. The good thing about that is that the individual, when they are making the decisions, they will take the prices given and then they make the decision. If the labor market is not competitive such that all the individuals are not price taker, it means that the individual not only need to make the decision about the labor hour they want to provide, the firm not only need to decide how many labor they want to use in their production process, they also need to decide what is the price they want to charge or they want to pay for using 1 unit of labor. Therefore, this assumption again makes our life of analysis much easier. The third assumption we make is that the firm maximizes the profit, the household maximizes the utility. And that is a very straightforward assumption that we made for a lot of economic analysis. When we are maximizing, there's always trade-off, and there's always trade-off of the cost and benefit.